All right, so I'm going to be taking these cabinet covers and taking the knobs off. I'm going to leave the rest of the hardware. I'm going to be spray painting the knobs this oil rubbed bronze Rust-Oleum color that I really like. And then I'm going to be turning these bad boys into like an antique turquoise look. I've already done one and it looks really, really good. So I kind of know how to do it now, and I'm going to do the rest of my cabinets in my kitchen and my laundry room the same color. So these are wrapped in, I think I'm saying it right, melamine. I'm not sure, but I did ask at Lowe's. They told me not to sand them, which I wasn't planning on doing anyway. They said to just prime them really well. So I'm familiar with this Kills all-purpose primer. I used to paint cow skulls, and I always primed them using this. This is really great stuff. And then I'm going to let that dry and use just black, tricorn black from Valspar. I just got sample sizes, and they've gone a really long way. When I run out of these, I guess I'll go buy like a half gallon or something. I don't know. I really didn't use much on that first cabinet, so I don't think I'm gonna have to use a lot of paint for my kitchen. Anyway, I'm gonna paint the whole thing black and let that dry. And then I've got two different like teals or turquoises here, whatever you think that is. I'm a turquoise lover. So I'm gonna first go in with this darker color. This is, let's see, what is this called? Vintage teal. And I'm just gonna kind of do a dry brush kind of over the black, leave a lot of the black showing. I'm gonna let that dry for just a second, and then I'm gonna go over the black spots that are left with this color, the blue turquoise, and I'm gonna leave a lot of the black showing, and then just kind of blend these a little bit. Also, dry brush technique that I learned from YouTube, and then I'm gonna let those dry, and then I'm gonna come back and do a coat of this polyurethane. And it says fast drying. I let my last one dry for a while in the shade, like a couple hours, and it was still pretty tacky, so then I put it in the sun and it was dry within an hour. And then I'm gonna pop my hardware back on, and we're gonna see how these babies look. So stick with me. All right, so I'm just gonna pop these knobs off. My husband did this last night with his drill, which I'm sure was a lot easier than this, but he is at work right now and I don't feel like waiting for him to get home, so I'm just going to use my little pink flashlight and combo set here. Easy as that. They just pop right off, and I'm going to set them just right here so I don't lose them. Flip this back over. Okay, I'll do this other one. Same thing, just pop that right out. This Kills primer, shake it up really well. And I'm just going to cover these liberally with this, I don't know, 3-inch brush that I got from Lowe's. I'm not going to do like a super exact job on this because I am kind of looking for a rough look. The cabinet that I did before, you can see brush strokes in it, and I really like that look. So if you're looking for something that's gonna be perfect and not have any lines in it, this probably is not for you. I was gonna also mention I bought the antiquing chalk from Lowe's in Moose and was planning on using that, but I liked the way that my other cabinet turned out so much that I didn't want to mess it up, so I didn't even try that. So I will be returning that to Lowe's. All right, and I'll let that dry and I'll come back and paint it black here in a little bit. All right, and while I'm waiting on my primer to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and spray the bottom or the back part of my knobs with this, and then when they're dry, I'll flip them over and spray the fronts. You wanna shake it really well and then spray. Alright, it's been about 3 hours and my primer is completely dry. I'm going to go ahead and do the black coat. I'm going to shake it really well. And this is just the tricorn black, the Valspar. I got it at Lowe's. And I'm just going to cover this whole thing in black. This is the base coat, so I'm wanting the black to show through just a little bit. Oh, and my brush is gigantic. All right, and I am okay with a little bit of the primer still showing. Like I said, I like the brush strokes. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and then I'll come back in the morning and add my turquoise colors and then seal it tomorrow afternoon. These are also dry, so I flipped them and I'm gonna spray them as well. And let them dry overnight. All right, it is the next morning. Everything is dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this darker color of turquoise. It's called Vintage Teal. I'm gonna shake it really well. It was kind of cold last night, so these do need to be shaken quite a bit. All right, and then I'm gonna open it, maybe if I can. So this is the color. It's really pretty. So the technique that you're gonna wanna use on this is called the dry brush technique. So you barely want any paint on your brush when you do this. So I'm gonna just get a little bit. I really need a bigger canister to be doing this, but not very much paint, as you can see. I'm just gonna do some random strokes here. Oh yeah, I really like that. Okay, get a little bit more. And if you get too much on your paintbrush, it's handy to have a paper towel here so you can just kind of wipe it if you feel like you have too much. So I went this way on the first stroke. So I'm gonna start at the bottom on the second one when I have a little bit more paint and brush up. See how it's a little heavier up here and then a little heavier down here and more sparse in these two spots. So when I come back with the other color, I'll do it opposite. I'll start down here and start up here and drag it. A little bit more paint, not much, and I'll start at the top over here and just kind of drag it down. And then I'll just kind of go over the whole thing. And again, you can have just random brush marks. I really like the brush stroke look. If you don't, maybe try a different technique. So I do want to get down in all of these grooves. So go ahead and do that, and then I can fix my brush strokes kind of on my last swipe there. Just a little bit on the edges. Sure to get this upper lip. You really don't use much paint when you're doing this. Like I said, this is a sample and this is the second one that I've done. I really think I'll be able to do my whole kitchen with the blue samples. I'll probably have to get some more black since I am covering, you know, the whole thing with black. Get the edges a little bit. Again, this doesn't have to be super covered because you are going to come back with another color. And it's okay if it's a little heavier in some spots. You can even it out a little bit with your brush, but I kind of like it to look imperfect. I'm really liking how this looks. Okay, and then I'll come back with that other color in just a minute. I'm going to let this dry for just a couple of minutes while I do this other cabinet front, and then I'll come back with that other color and kind of fill in some of the darker spots. All right, this has been drying for just a couple of minutes while I painted this other cabinet that's off camera. Now I'm going to go in with this lighter color. It's called Blue Turquoise, and I'm just going to kind of fill in the black spots a little bit and then blend everything. I didn't even rinse my brush from that other color because I really don't care if they overlap or blend. Oh. Got it. Okay, and this is a really pretty light color. Love that. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to get a little bit of paint on my brush here, scraping off most of the excess. And I'm going to start at the bottom because it's heavier here, 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 and here. So I'm going to just kind of fill in those black spots. But I still want some black showing through. And you can see a little bit of the primer, and I'm really okay with that. And you can just kind of blend it out. Love that look. Get a little bit in here. I know my brush strokes are going all over the place. It's okay, you can always go back and fix it. That's what I like so much about this technique. You can make mistakes, and they're pretty easy to fix. So you can see this color just kind of makes the turquoise pop a little bit, and then when you stain it, it makes it pop even more. So get a little bit over here. I'll fix my brush strokes in just a minute. We are here in Texas. We have a lot of humidity, so everything was a little bit wet this morning. I did just wipe it with a paper towel. I probably should have let it dry a little bit more before I did this, but oh. Do the top just a little bit. Bit more here in the middle. A little more over here on the side. Okay, so I will let that dry and come back here in a little bit and seal it. I'm really liking how that looks. Okay, see y'all in a little bit. All right, these are dry. It was 35 degrees here in Texas this morning, so It took a little longer for these to dry. It is now about 75 and sunny, so things are progressing a little quicker than they were this morning. So this is totally dry. I'm gonna go ahead and seal it with this fast drying polyurethane in clear satin. I'm gonna shake it really well. And pop her open. And I'm going to apply a generous coat to this. I'm just going to do one coat. And you'll see it kind of changes the color of the cabinet and makes everything pop and stand out more. You can see the difference in color from here where I have sealed and around the edges where I haven't. This just kind of brightens up that turquoise where it's kind of dull over here. Alright, quick and easy. I'm going to let that dry for a couple hours, pop my hardware back on, and go hang these up at our new house.